good to go. All right.
Morning, members of the Technology Advisory Group. This meeting is now called to order. For those around the table, please turn on your microphone when speaking. For those participating via Zoom, please state your name when making a comment or asking a question. The MAG public comment process allows members of the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction. If you would like to comment at today's meeting, please complete the request to speak form. MAG staff can assist with any questions you may have. If you parked in the garage, a validation stamp is available on the counter. If you purchased a transit ticket to come to the meeting, please see staff for a ticket. Hearing assisted devices are available for MAG staff. We will now begin the meeting with a roll call of all members.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. I do have an A. Bogdan online. Are you with Fountain Hills by chance? Okay, you are currently muted if you are trying to speak. Okay. We unmute. Okay, Mark Nearings?
Present.
Greg Pataz? Jim Keane? Tom Bacon?
Present.
Trendon Schaffer? Mike Chicharone? Eugene Mejia? Lisa Faison?
Here.
Richard McHattie? Scott Conn? Chris Dalmoen? Steen Hembrick?
Present.
Tim Clark? Amy Tinder? Tracy Mills?
I'm here.
Jared Morris?
Present.
Richard So?
Present.
And Matus Marocek. And we do have a quorum.
Our next item is called to the audience. This is the opportunity for the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda, informational items, or items on the agenda for discussion and not for action. 15 minutes will be provided for the call to the audience unless the chair requests an exception to this limit.
We have received no comments.
We've received no request to speak for the call to the audience. MAG also provides the opportunity for members of the public to submit written comments via the MAG website. Any comments received 2 hours prior to the meeting have been shared with committee members in advance of the meeting for consideration and will be included in the formal meeting minutes. Staff, have we received any online written comments for the call to the audience?
No, we have received no comments for this or any other item.
Okay. Our next item is approval of the first of 2 sets of meeting minutes. Item 3 is for approval of the February 19, 2026 meeting minutes, and item 4 is for approval of the May 27, 2026 meeting minute. These will require 2 separate votes. Do any member of the committees have questions for those 2 items? Hearing none. Prior to approval of the meeting minutes, there is an opportunity for members of the public to comment. I've received
We have received no comments. For
no
this item.
comment, no requests for items 3 and 4. Staff, have we received any online written comments for items 3 and 4?
No, we have received no comments for this item.
Is there a motion to approve agenda item 3?
I move to approve agenda item 3.
Thank you, Tracy. And a second?
I'll second it.
Is that Tom?
Tom Bacon. Second.
Okay. Thanks, Tom. We have a motion from Tracy and a second from Tom. We will have those participating in the meeting online take part in a voice vote by turning on their cameras and unmuting their audio. We need to see the faces of everyone to participate in the voice vote. For those who cannot or do not want to turn on their camera, staff will conduct a roll call vote. Staff will only call on those virtual participants who did not turn on their camera. Members, leave your cameras on until after the roll call vote so that staff can count the people's names whose cameras are not on. Can I have a voice vote of those in the room and those online? Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. Members, please leave your cameras on. Staff, can you take a roll call of the members participating virtually who did not turn on their cameras?
Yeah, I just have Anthony. Are you online, Anthony? With Fountain Hills? Okay, you are muted if you was trying to speak. Okay, motion does.
Motion passed. Approval, let's see, we're on this one now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Our next item is approval of the May 27, 2026 meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve agenda item 4?
I move to approve agenda item 4. This is Jared Morse, City of Tempe.
And a second?
This is Lisa. I second.
We have a motion from Jared and a second from Lisa. Can I have a voice vote of those in the room and those online? Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. Staff, can you take a roll call of the members participating virtually who did not turn on their cameras?
Just want to reach out to Anthony one more time. Okay.
Okay.
We also have an iPhone who just joined or is joining.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Is this Anthony?
Hi. Yes, I'm so sorry. I couldn't. I've been trying to fix my audio for the past 7 minutes. I apologize.
Are you able to unmute your video briefly or are you just on audio?
Yes, I had to connect via my phone, so I am right here. There,
Perfect.
you hear me? Sorry about that, guys. I apologize.
And how do you vote?
Aye. Sorry.
So much. Is that for items 3 and 4? All
Correct.
right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, no problem.
Motion passed.
Motion passed. Okay, this number 5. This item is on the agenda for information and discussion will be presented by David Worley, Information Technology Manager, and Rachel Andrews, Senior Planner, both with MAG. That's for Regional Community Network Assessment, RCN.
Thank you, Chair Hambrick, members of the Technology Advisory Group. Today's presentation will focus on key findings and recommendations from the RCN assessment, which will inform the future of the network. I know most of you are familiar with the RCN, but if there's any new members who would like to know more, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to start with a quick refresher of the RCN, then dive into key points from the assessment, and finally hand it off to Rachel, who will talk about the future path of the RCN. So the RCN is a private communications network that connects participating member agencies through agency-owned fiber optics. The diagram here shows the complexity of the network and logic of the connections. It spans about 250 miles of fiber across the region. The original intent of the network was to improve coordination and connection across agencies and to effectively use fiber infrastructure. Use cases have evolved and broadened over time based on growing needs from member agencies, supporting traffic management, public safety coordination, and cross-jurisdictional data exchange. Participation in the RCN has grown over the years as well. Currently, we have 19 agencies consisting of cities and towns, as well as ADOT, MCDOT, Valley Metro, and the Arizona State University Police Department. The original uses of the RCN were focused on video conferencing and traffic camera sharing. With advancements in technology and evolving needs, video conferencing is no longer needed through the RCN, but traffic camera sharing has continued, along with expanded cases such as traffic signal coordination, data sharing, and public safety use. Since use cases have expanded significantly over the past 2 decades, last year we initiated an assessment to establish a clear picture of how the RCN operates and is used today. The assessment identified gaps and challenges, as well as feasible future paths for the RCN to support informed regional decision-making about its future. Member agency input was a key part of the assessment, and we'd like to thank the members of this committee for their participation and engagement through surveys and interviews. Based on the feedback we heard, key applications of the RCN span both transportation and public safety operations. These include real-time situational awareness for crashes, roadway closures, and other events, traffic management and signal coordination, special event operations, and public safety coordination. It's clear that the RCN provides regional value as a trusted and reliable network for data sharing and coordination, supporting various activities across the region. The assessment also identified gaps that have emerged with such rapid growth, notably that there are different interpretations of what the network is meant to support and how it should evolve. This has resulted in unclear alignment between purpose, governance, staffing, and funding, confusion about roles and responsibilities across agencies, limited staffing capacity for proactive planning amidst increasing maintenance and performance expectations, And most significantly, there is no shared documented long-term vision for the network. Ultimately, the most needed next step is a dedicated strategic planning effort for the RCN. As part of these efforts, a key question is what the future path forward should be for the RCN. And now I'll hand it over to Rachel.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I'm Rachel Andrews. I'm a senior transportation planner on MAG's policy and initiatives team. So the RCN assessment identified 3 future paths which vary in flexibility, investment, and staffing level, and are intended to inform the rest of the strategic planning process. Further discussion and selection of the path forward will be part of the strategic planning effort and necessitate continued coordination, but today we'll do a high-level overview of each alternative. Alternative A is to expand and improve a distributed use model. This option maintains the existing portfolio of transportation and safety uses. This further strengthens the RCN as a flexible multi-use network through planned improvements and increased coordination. It preserves broad flexibility to support expansion, focusing on maximizing utility rather than prescribing use. However, this broader scope of use requires a higher level of staffing, investment, coordination, planning, and governance, and clear regional expectations on operations and maintenance scope. This mixed use would require clearer cost allocation frameworks as existing funding sources for the RCN are constrained to transportation uses. Then we have alternative B. This is to advance a defined primary mission model. This option aligns the network around a clearly defined purpose, supporting either transportation or public safety as the primary use. This would require conversations about trade-offs, as there would be reduced flexibility for secondary or evolving uses. A transportation focus would align with MAG's core transportation mission and available revenue streams. However, a public safety focus would have additional security and performance requirements to ensure reliability, uptime, and secure video data sharing, and would necessitate significant funding from member agencies since, as mentioned before, existing resources that support the RCN are transportation-based. Finally, we have alternative C, which is to preserve the break-fix model. This option maintains our current operations with minimal investment beyond maintaining basic functionality, focusing on reactive maintenance and continuity of existing services. This alternative is mainly limited to responding to outages, resolving connectivity issues, and addressing agency-specific requests as they arise. We have been in break-fix mode as a temporary transitional option, but it really places pressure on limited staff capacity as it limits proactive planning and has significant long-term risk. As use cases have expanded, expectations for reliability, resiliency, coordination, and maintenance have grown significantly. Even during break-fix mode, we have received requests for expansion and new connections, which we are only able to address on a limited basis amidst increasing interest. Remaining in this mode could erode confidence in the network and reduce its relevance as a regional asset. Another key consideration for the future of the RCN is funding limitations which affect eligibility and flexibility. As mentioned throughout this presentation today, the original and existing funding sources for the RCN are constrained to transportation uses. Additionally, the Prop 479 funding is limited to Maricopa County only. This may be a challenge for the RCN as the MAG region continues to expand beyond Maricopa County to parts of Pinal. Non-transportation uses will thus require clearly defined cost allocation and responsibility frameworks to manage expectations and compliance. As RCN use cases expand, aligning funding sources with how the network is actually used will become increasingly important to long-term sustainability and will be a key point of discussion for strategic planning. So in terms of next steps, we have initiated a strategic planning process, and the advertisement is open and posted as of yesterday. The RFP will close September 16th, and we plan to begin the project in November. We will convene a working group, and the work will be organized in phases. The full final report for the RCN assessment is available online and in the agenda packet, and you can access it through this QR code or by going to our Regional Community Network webpage. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. That concludes the presentation, and we'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, David and Rachel. Do any members have questions or comments?
I just had a this is Tom Bacon with Elmirage. Had a quick question. So in option, let's call it option 2A, where it's that second option, but the transportation focused, that's simply a focus on transportation, not an elimination of other uses as well. It's just we're focusing on transportation, but other uses can still be available in that framework.
Certainly. So thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. That's going to be a discussion within the strategic working group. We're really wanting to have those conversations to see what the future of the RCN is and what the future operational and allowable uses are.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments?
I'll just this is Tom again. I'll say one thing. I think certainly 1 and 2 seem to be more viable than the third of the break fix. That's just my opinion, but yeah, I think it's better to have a strategic plan than to just operate the status quo, hoping the funds cover. And yeah, so I'm glad this is good that this has come up and is being taken forward. So good presentation. Thank you.
Could I just was there a timeline? Can we back up and look at the timeline for this working group to make a decision?
Sure. Yes. I think we're pulling up the slides. I'm not sure if it's on this slide, but
If you could just speak to it, maybe that'd be fine too.
Yeah, of course, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. The timeline, so we just opened up the RFP yesterday and it's gonna be open until September 16th. Then we're planning to start the process project in November, and it's gonna be an 18-month timeline for this project.
Well, I certainly hope it continues. It's a great service.
Thanks, Tracy. Any other questions or comments? Okay, this item was for information only, right? Okay. So hearing none, we'll move on to the next agenda item. Next agenda item, Regional 311 discussion. This item is on the agenda for information and discussion. This one was actually added by City of Phoenix. This one came about from discussion with some of our elected officials expressing interest in establishing a 311 system for the City of Phoenix. City of Phoenix doesn't own or doesn't manage the 311 number in the region. So Chuck Boyer, who's with us, our assistant CIO, he reached out to Audrey with MAG, as well as Rich McCaddy, CIO, Maricopa County, to have a preliminary discussion, just to understand, the ownership or I guess the management of the 311 number. And I believe the answer was it's with Maricopa County. Correct, Chuck?
Yes, that's correct. Maricopa County currently has the number and is managing it. It could be changed, but it that's where it's currently founded. Yeah.
So at this point, what we wanted to do is bring it in front of MAG-TAG just to see if there's interest in pursuing a working group or something to have a continued discussion on this. I think it's been brought to MAG before. Obviously, there isn't a regional 311 system in place for this region. A lot of cities or towns have a 311 system specifically within their or a number. I believe some have one. Phoenix does, but it's a general number, specific to their city. We're trying to see if there's interest in having some type of a hub 311 system where it potentially reaches into city 311 systems, or come up with other ideas to extend this and make this a better use case for the region. So, I just want to pause and see if maybe there's some questions or interest in pursuing this as a MAGTAG kind of working group.
Well, I know that Audrey's team had put in quite a bit of work and effort to this same question several years ago. I don't know if it would be relevant to pull that information out again. I think you even had it down to several options. Audrey, can you maybe elaborate on that again?
Chairman, members of the committee, yes, we did have what was called a 311 business planning committee with representation from this committee, but also city managers, various people throughout the agencies, and then some working groups comprised of more technical staff. And we did evaluate a number of options to move forward. Ultimately, the state of everybody's call-in systems was not consistent, and the financial costs were, at least at the time in the middle of a recession, not ideal. So, but there was broad interest, and the committee decided that their final recommendation was that at some point in the future it be reviewed.
Thanks, Andre. I think that's kind of where from a City of Phoenix perspective, I think we're open to bringing it back to the table and possibly seeing, even if technologies are different, is there a way that we can get benefit out of it at this point in time?
So Steen, where do you see that? So are you talking about like a regional 311 approach again, or each city feeding into it? I mean, because I think that's where like decisions we couldn't make decisions on before, whether it was, bodies from each city going to a centralized location, or if it would feed back into the cities, or what's your thought on that? Or any thoughts? All the above.
It's a great question, and I wasn't part of any initial discussion, from MAG regarding this, but my initial thought was something that cities like Phoenix, we've already established a 311 capability within the city, so I was initially envisioning some type of a feeder into city established systems if they exist, but I'm very open to just kind of cleaning the slate and having a broader discussion. That that mindset was just mine. We have something, but we don't have 311. If somebody calls it, and whether it's the county, I'm not necessarily saying Phoenix should own it. Right now the county has management of that system, and we've, like I said, we've talked to Rich McCaddy. He's interested in having discussions. He just wasn't able to make this meeting. But I think we should have a broader discussion of where are our cities today. What are they doing today? Understanding it, kind of mapping it out, and then understanding. Does it make sense to have kind of a hub that will redirect to existing 311 capabilities or phone systems within these towns and cities, or is there a better way to do it? I think we just need to have the conversation.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. I mean, we have our own, but that doesn't mean that we can't make it better. And having that three-digit number is always helpful and easier for people to remember than trying to remember each city, what the phone number, look it up, whatever. So I would definitely agree that more conversation should be had around it.
Right. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, this is Jared Morris, City of Tempe. So I would be very interested, City of Tempe in general would be very interested in any regional discussions around 311. We use it quite a bit and happy to participate in those.
Yep. Same from Surprise.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, well, I'm not hearing any negative. So is it possible for us to set up a follow-on discussion specific to this?
So we'll take this back and see how we establish some way to have that discussion. We obviously are not agendized for action, so we can't do anything like that now. But I will definitely take that back and have a discussion about how to move that discussion forward.
Great. Thanks, Audrey. So it'll be taken back and we'll figure out a path forward, the proper path forward. Okay. Thank you. Okay, moving on to agenda item 7, municipal fiber discussion. This item is on the agenda for information and discussion. Tracy Mills brought forward the suggestion.
I did. Sorry, I didn't realize my camera was off when I was talking before. So as we are navigating the municipal fiber world, I just wanted to hear from others. I know Scott Kahn did a presentation probably 6 months to a year ago about what Mesa did. I think Buckeye just completed their fiber master plan. We are in the middle of working through a fiber master plan right now. But what comes up quite often and what I'm interested to hear from others is opportunities that come up from new construction. And maybe some of you guys are kind of landlocked, but some areas where there's new construction and the trench is open, you know, I would love to get conduit at least in the ground, be fiber ready for places, or as some of these fiber companies are coming in, you know, working with them for some in-kind fiber so that we have our own dark fiber. I think we always want to own our fiber or have some sort of trade-off there. But I just would love to hear from others on what's working, what is not working, so that as we navigate this, you know, we can take those into consideration.
Tracy, I can tell you in Goodyear, anytime we have new builds happening, we build that in. So if we've got a new fire station coming, we make sure that that's included as part of the CIP project.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We did have at one point in time in-kind agreements. Our legal department doesn't really like those.
I'm getting that same pressure.
Yeah. And even with them, the conduits aren't very large that they provide, and you still have to make connection to it. So there's still a hefty cost to even use it. So we haven't found a good use case for those quite yet, but we are really having that strategy on how to expand our own dark fiber and starting to create fiber rings.
That's what we're trying to do. And, you know, we are partnering, we have a great partnership with our transportation team as well. So, I mean, it's, you know, we consider it city fiber, not just transportation. So, you know, those are always concessions made. But, you know, where they may need this last stretch or we need something, we're just trying to figure out how to harness that all together and, you know, kind of overlay that and see where, you know, what's the best fit for us. Yeah, in-kind's been really challenging, you know, per se, that I think in our world, it sounds great, but legal does not they don't understand it. So I think I think it's hard for them to try to figure out how to make sure we're in a good space to not cross any gifting clauses and things like that. So yeah, I just was curious what other people are doing. We have created our draft master plan, but we are going to seek additional, you know, a third party to come in and basically validate it, and then, you know, seek the funding. But to your point, we do with every CIP project, we have now said this is a utility. This is not a nice to have. It's a requirement. And I think they finally understand that. So, because it's costing them way too much to do it after the fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just was kind of curious what everybody else is, you know, if there's some momentum from others that I just hadn't thought of different angles.
Tracy, one thing that I would add for the city of Phoenix is, we're trying to make sure that decisions when there's an opportunity to look, kind of downstream in terms of strategic priorities or strategic projects to be considered for that. And I don't think that we've done a great job on that, but I think we're doing a better job on that, where if the streets department is doing something and they're whatever initiative they have or whatever activity they have is requiring, retrenching or trenching, we're trying to bring those types of activities, bring visibility into it from kind of a smart city portfolio perspective, so that we can see if there's opportunities to kind of take advantage of it while that work is being done, as opposed to redoing work. And so it's not really a great answer, but it's something that we recognize that sometimes it's better to understand what other departments are doing, because when streets is doing something for them, they're not necessarily looking at what is economic development doing or something like that. So we want to try and get visibility of those things from a kind of a smart city regional or kind of a focus group perspective, so that we can at least say, hey, we have an opportunity and have it considered before, kind of the trenches filled in.
Right. And that's kind of what we're trying to, well, I think we have a good relationship with our CIP team. So now they do have us in their planning process for CIP projects, but you're right. Some of those streets projects, some of those smaller things that might be coming in or break fix work. What we are trying to do is overlay, what transportation's doing, what streets is doing, so obviously they probably have some plans. We're trying to lay that all out into one view, so then we can see where those opportunities are and seize the moment.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thanks for bringing this up. Appreciate it.
Do any members have additional questions or comments? Hearing none. Number 8, Western Region Innovation and Technology Alliance. This item will not be heard at this time, so it's removed from the agenda. Number 9, a request for future agenda items. Are there any requests from the membership for an item on a future agenda? Hearing none. The next agenda item is comments from the committee. Okay, comments from the committee. Are there any comments or announcements from the membership? Note, this item is for information only. Discussion of any agency comments cannot occur, as the item will need to be a specific agenda item. They can be added to a future agenda. Any comments? Hearing none. The next meeting of the Technology Advisory Group will be on Thursday, November 19th, 2026 at 10 a.m. With no further business, today's meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.